Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are excited for our next guest here to join us, Raquel Williams from beautiful Napa, California, going to talk about the work she does as a life coach and also as a rapid transformational therapist today. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well, Jill. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. For new listeners today and everyone, we got to get to know you a little bit. So Raquel, to start, tell us your website.
My website is raquelrwilliams.com, and that's RAQUEL.
Perfect. Good. Always good to spell it. And you say the quickest way to becoming everything you're meant to be is through this transformational therapy and coaching. So, we're going to go into detail to learn more about our friend here, Raquel. But in general, just give us a little overview about the work you do to start.
Rapid transformational therapy is all based on getting to the root cause of whatever it is you're challenged with. So sometimes there are behaviors, whether it's procrastination, self-sabotage, even things like anxiety, depression. If you don't understand, why do I have this?
Ooh.
Why am I going through this? And rapid transformational therapy, we're able to get to the root. So I deal with your subconscious mind, and we're able, your mind has all the answers, Jill, like, right? It's all in there. So what I do is I just help guide you through a process that gets to those answers.
Got it. And bring us out of it. So I hope, right? Because we all could be changed. We hope to. Some of us need some change. Some of us need guidance. Nothing to be ashamed of here, for sure. So we're going to get more into that and in more detail. But first, I would love to find out more about you. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? And then, of course, what brought you down this journey and this path to doing what you do to help so many people?
Yeah. I grew up in San Bruno, so California. And I ended up moving to Los Angeles for about 10 years and then came back home to the Bay Area. So I'm a Bay Area girl, San Francisco.
And then what brought you here to this world? What was your original career path? Did you always see yourself working with people as a youngin', or what did you really want to do? And tell us how you evolved to start doing this, and education-wise, where did you go to school?
As a young girl, I really wanted to become a singer-songwriter, and really writing was my love. But I realized even then that what really grabbed me as a young girl was inspiring people. The whole thing about music was the ability to touch people's hearts with song, with lyric, with melody. And even at 6 years old, I remember watching, I'm going to date myself here, but Star Search.
I watched Star Search. I'm 45. Will you disclose how old are you?
I'm 52.
No, you look younger than me. I love Star Search, so that was a good one.
It was. And I remember I was probably 6 years old, and I was watching this little girl who she just sang beautifully. She was probably 10 years old, something. But I remember watching it, and in that moment, the camera kind of panned in the audience, and the audience was so captured. And I will never forget that feeling of, I want to do that. And I didn't even know what that meant, but it was like, I want to do that.
And so the singing and the songwriting. So you started at what age? I mean, where can we hear your music too?
Oh God. I actually started singing at 15. Okay. And I was in a girl group. That's when girl groups were popular. And I was in a 3-girl group, and we released a single, and we did some touring, and then that led into another group. And I was actually signed by a label, and we did some touring. And so I got to kind of taste that world.
Can you tell me the name of the group, or do you don't want to disclose? I don't want to.
The first group was Luce, and the second group was 4-Way.
Okay, awesome. Wow, yeah. So that's exciting, an amazing path. And then what changed for you that you ended up changing? I know you had your own share of health journey. Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So I ended up, it's literally one day I stopped sleeping. Like, I saw the sun come up, and I remember telling my husband, I did not fall asleep last night. And I thought it was a fluke, like a lot going on in my life.
On your stress, anxiety. Okay.
Yeah. And so I didn't think too much of it that night, but then the next night it happened again. By my 4th night, I was panicking. I was shaking. I mean, literally my body wasn't shutting down. And that was the beginning of a health journey for me. Kicked my butt. But that's really what led me even into this direction, because not sleeping led into my body breaking down. And they sent me to specialists. I went to sleep specialists. I went to neurological special. I mean, every specialist you can imagine. And throughout the course of 4 years, there was 0 answers. So here I am, barely sleeping. I'm a mother of 3. You know, I'm a business owner. I got a lot going on, and I'm barely functioning. And so that's when I kind of fired. You know, Western medicine is great for certain things, but for what I was dealing with, they just couldn't help me. And so I went the more natural path. And I learned a lot. I had to become a student, because what I was being told was there was no answer, that I was going to have to live with this. That's basically what medicine was telling me. You're going to have to live with this. There are no answers. Like I
Or
developed.
here, take a pill, take a pill, take a
Well, they
Xanax, put you
wanted
to
to.
sleep.
Yeah, they wanted to, Jill. And the truth is, I didn't want to medicate myself. Right. So it was, here's antidepressants, here's some for your pain, here's some for, and I thought, you know, if I go that route, I'm done. I'm telling myself that I'm done. And that just wasn't acceptable to me. So I started on this journey of really learning, educating myself on everything. I started with the physical body because I thought that's where my problem was. So I started learning about food. I started learning about the gut. I started learning about, you know, nutrition. I mean, every aspect of your physical body. I just became a student, and I started learning myself, like what's happening here. But things got worse and worse. I mean, this was a 15-year journey where I couldn't work out. There were days I couldn't get out of bed. My body would crash. I lived feeling like I had the flu. Like imagine every day you have a sore throat, chills, a headache, like you feel like a truck hit you, but there's no answers. So that's where I found myself. I'm not sleeping. My body's crashing. I can barely function, but nobody has an answer for me. And so I go down this path of everything to learn about the physical body, but nothing worked. I did every juice fast, potion, lotion, pill, herb. I mean, you name it, I did it. We could talk about it. And nothing, absolutely nothing worked until the day that I had a real scare. My lower back kept going out on me. And it had become a natural thing. My lower back would tweak. I'd be on the floor for 10 days. And they did an MRI, and the doctor called me and said, "Hey, Raquel, I'm going to have to send you to oncology. We found a growth." And it was one of those moments, you know, where it's like I consider myself a fighter. And it was one of those moments where I had done everything imaginable to figure out what is going on with me. And now I get that phone call. And I remember just like hanging up the phone. I didn't want my husband to know that it bothered me that much, but I went to the other room and I just broke. I'm like, at this point, I'm like 10 years in, I'm doing everything I can, and you're going to tell me this? So I don't know what it was, but I do know what it is. I'm a very spiritual girl. And I got this unction, okay, to get on Netflix, believe it or not. And I just follow my unctions. I got my butt on there. I pulled up Netflix, and this documentary popped up called Heal.
Okay.
Not sure if you've ever heard of it. That was the beginning of my journey. I sat there and watched that documentary and cried the entire time because I knew that was me. And for the first time in 10 years, it was like, holy cow, that's me. So I looked for a doctor that did what's called shadow work. It's where you start to work with your subconscious mind and what I call toxic emotions. And literally within a week, after 10, 12 years of nothing working, within a week, the pain started to dissipate. And I started sleeping a little better. And this just led me into, oh my God, I need to know what this is. And now I'm super passionate about helping others discover this in their life, because I'm like a real testament of it.
Wow. Wow. So now, oh my goodness. So then you decide to go for the training and to become a therapist. How many years have you been doing RTT for?
So RTT only a couple of years.
Okay.
Coaching, I have about 10 years plus
Mm-hmm.
in the life coaching area, but the actual working with the subconscious mind, only a couple of years.
Got it. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you for sharing your story. And I'm so sorry what you went through, but at the same time, and you'll probably say it made you who you are. And now you're here helping others. So I commend you on that. And
Thank you.
thank you for being here. Just a reminder, if you are tuning in, Raquel Williams, we're joined by her today, and we're talking here about RTT and her work as a life coach and how she can help you. Raquel R. Williams is the website, and Raquel spelled Raquel, correct? And I
Correct.
know for today, you want to talk more about identifying the root of a problem, clarity of self, and then we'll get into some teaching awareness and becoming, the observer of yourself. Would you mind walking us and guiding us down that path for today?
Yeah, absolutely. So getting to the root obviously is the first step, right?
Mhm.
Because like in my own journey, until I really understood what was even causing my body to break down. The title they gave was fibromyalgia. And that was really a title they gave when they couldn't really understand why. It's obvious something's happening to you, but we don't know why. We don't have an answer for you, right?
Mhm.
And so when I finally understood what was causing my body to do that, getting to that root, really understanding that our subconscious mind is it's like it's a program, basically. So get this, Jill, 5% of who we are as people and 5% of our decision making and only 5% comes from your conscious thinking,
Mhm.
which means that 95%
95%.
of who we are comes from subconscious programming.
Ah,
Let that sit with you for a second. That's huge, because your subconscious mind does not care what goes in it. It's like it's like a computer. It just gets programmed. It remembers, it programs, and it's the part that replays and replays and replays. It doesn't care what goes in there,
true.
right?
Uh-huh.
So your conscious mind is the part of the mind where you create. It's where you dream. It's where you set goals. It's you and I talking right now. But only 5% of who we are actually comes from that. So 95% of who we are as individuals comes from our programming, subconscious programming. So I say that because that's super important to understand,
Yeah.
because even though you think that you are making decisions based on your conscious mind, you're making decisions based on who you are being, who you are,
Wow.
what's in that subconscious programming. So to get to the root of an issue is vitally important. Like with me, the bottom line is I had trauma in my life as a child. So even though as an adult, I was able to look and say, well, yeah, I get that wasn't my fault. And I get that, especially with sexual abuse. Okay, I'll get very transparent. When you're dealing with sexual abuse as a child, it's how does the child frame that experience?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's not necessarily what happened, although that in itself is horrible and it's
Traumatic.
traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
But what did the child take away from that? What is the belief that they created? So if
Mm-hmm.
in that time and space that child is feeling unloved, unprotected, not safe, not worthy, right? Because why is this happening? I'm a bad person, guilt, shame, all this stuff starts to become part of those types of experiences. Then you take that into your adult life. Now,
Yeah.
as an adult, right, you use your conscious mind and you say, well, no, I get that this happened because of da da da. You can rationalize it, right, as an adult. However, that subconscious programming and that child that was affected is still there. That's what's called inner child work, right?
Yes.
So you think that you are what's going down in your life is everything you're conscious of, but no. What I had to understand is that my subconscious programming was telling a story that I didn't know it was telling, and my body was going down because of it.
Wow. That is intense. And so many people have childhood trauma and it affects them to this day. I mean, I'm open and honest about it myself. My parents never got along. Cops are always being called. They were abusive, not to me physically, but verbally. And watching that and my whole life, that's like red flag, don't trust, can't trust, don't trust. And here I am at 45, still single, can't get into a normal relationship. I have two boys, 6 and 8, but I attract the wrong men, or am I really looking for them? But I feel like I'm okay with it. I've made peace with it, like that. It happened. Things could have been worse. Everyone goes through stuff and I feel like I'm fine, but maybe deep down I'm not fine. And I always think about that because at 45 it's the same pattern repeating. It sounds like it could be something maybe that could be helped by inner child work that you just mentioned. Just curious.
You
So
you you
let me
nailed it.
ask, so relationships, one of the things that this could help.
Absolutely. When you see patterns in your life, and for you, that's a pattern.
Yes.
When you see patterns in your life of it's a different face, a different place, same experience. The end result is the same. That's a
Always.
pattern.
Yes.
So you are attracting a certain type of relationship, a certain type of man based on a programming, based on a belief that you hold that you're probably not even aware of that you hold. You know
Yeah.
something's there, but you're not sure what exactly it is. And that's what I
Mhm.
do. We can go in and get to the root, like, why are you attracting this? What is the belief? What's holding you back from real love? Because
Mhm.
once you expose the truth, once your brain knows the truth, it unlocks everything. That thing no longer holds you prisoner.
Mhm. All right, so thank you. That's another good example. I mean, you mentioned sexual abuse. We talked about relationships, dysfunctional childhood. What other things can this technique help with? And then I want to find out how it works. Like, how, yeah, give us an example of what it is and how, somebody works with you.
Yeah. So it helps with anything again that's a behavior. So let's talk about behaviors, whether it's an addiction,
Is it like
anger,
smoking? Could it be
smoking,
okay?
yeah, anger,
OCD,
OCD, weight.
weight
You know
loss?
how
Oh,
many
what?
women I work with that are not able to drop the weight and they're like, no matter what I do. See, here's when you know it's a mind thing, okay? When no matter what you do, I tell people if it's physical, then your nutrition or the chiropractor or the acupuncturist is going to fix it, okay? If you're doing all those things and it's chronic, it's not being fixed, it's time to dig a little deeper. That's when you know that there's something else there. So when the physical things don't fix the physical body, something else is at play. Okay. And same with when you're trying to lose weight. Women that I work with, even men, in terms of losing weight, there's a root cause. It's like, why? Typically, it's
Mm-hmm.
safety. There's something
Yeah.
that happened in their life where their brain is saying it's not safe for me to be thin and be beautiful,
Yeah.
right? So no matter what they do,
Mm-hmm.
they are not going to drop that weight because our mind is that powerful. So whether it's and then you talk about relationships, right? We talked about patterns in relationships or insomnia. You know, people deal with insomnia and don't
Uh-huh.
understand why they can't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Like the list goes on. It's really any area in your life that you don't understand.
Okay. All right. Wow, that's a lot. Let's just remind everyone how we can reach out to you. Raquel Williams, who we're talking to, if you are just tuning in, tell us the website, phone number, any social media pages we need to know of.
Website is raquelrwilliams.com. That's RAQUEL, rwilliams.com. And social media right now, I'm so bad. I really need to get on that. So that's not happening right now. But I actually, they can send me an email as well, Raquel@raquelrwilliams.com.
Perfect. That's okay. And also now let's talk about, the process of doing this type of work and what type of commitment does it take? So if someone's tuning in now, again, we're talking about RTT, which you say is a combination of four therapies, right? So it's
Yes.
including hypnosis, you say, that addresses the root cause of many issues like insomnia, procrastination, anxiety, self-sabotage, depression. You use this tool, you say, along with coaching to help individuals, couples, also families, and even just yourself to resolve disharmony. And let's work through it. How does it work? explain the process of how many sessions? Is there a guidebook to how it can work? I mean, it's probably different for everyone, but
it is different. And depending, so the first thing is to have a consultation call so we can figure out what it is someone's dealing with, right?
okay.
What's most popular that I end up doing is a 3-month program, so 12
Okay.
weeks. And that'll consist of 3 RTT sessions and then coaching for the 12 weeks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out what is the end result that you're looking for, right? So we're going to dive really deep into what is it exactly that you want.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next time we meet, we're going to go ahead and do our rapid transformational session. That's about 2 hours. And that's where we get into the subconscious mind. And that's where we see, okay, what's going on? We're going to get clarity. We're going to get to the root of whatever it is that is holding you back, get to the limiting beliefs, right? Get to whatever the fears are, and just bring you clarity so that you understand, oh my goodness, this is where this comes from. And also unlock your mind, because once we do that, then we have the room to make change.
Okay. And what is the commitment process? Is it meeting once a week? Is it once, for the 12 weeks, let's say? How often? And, because I mean, there's accountability, right? You have to want to make the change. And so how often do you meet with the client, and tell us about some of the homework that they have to do to really stay with this?
Yeah, I love that you bring that up, Jill. That's such an important piece. You have to want to change. I'm going to give you things to do. And yeah, we'll even call it homework. I'm going to give you a little homework. I'm going to give you things to do. I'm going to give you the process. We do meet once a week. We do it via Zoom. So I'm able to work with people all over. But you have to want to change your life. And if you want to change your life, then change is possible for you. But it does take some accountability. I told someone the other day, can you want to lose weight and get in shape and just think about it? No, that's silly. You have to drink water, eat right, go to the gym, right? It's a lifestyle change, and you implement this. The mind is no different. And we're going to go through a process of implementing new things, learning new things. And that takes a little bit of time and commitment, but it's well worth it, because otherwise, I also tell people, if you're happy where you're at, then don't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, but people, and let me ask you, I mean, big thing since the pandemic, tell me about the increase in anxiety, stress. Everybody's been suffering with that. Is that something that you work with people on a lot? Because everyone says they're so stressed, and everyone seems so anxious and off edge, especially the past few years.
A lot of anxiety. A lot of anxiety. And yes, I do work a lot with that. And what happens is that trauma, belief systems are created in us from 0 to about 7, right? So statistically, scientifically, that's when the trauma happens, right? Or the beliefs that we create as children that we take into our adult lives. So what happens along life is that we start to experience things that solidify those beliefs. Okay. So if I believe that I'm not enough, right? Which is a huge one. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not worth loving, right? If I believe that as a child, then my first boyfriend comes along and breaks my heart. What just happened?
Yeah.
It
confirms yours that you're not good enough, or whatever the reason is. Same pattern.
Same, right? So that it starts. So you start to have the experiences again that match the belief. Okay. And so then the years go on, and now you've got this cemented belief that you are not enough. It's not a conscious belief, but that is a belief, deep-rooted belief that you hold. So the more experiences that you have that solidify that belief, you start to, life is a mirror.
Yeah.
So life begins to reflect back at us who we are. So therefore, if relationships are showing up, or things are, showing up in life, then you're simply being shown who you are at a deeper level. So with anxiety, we've got these experiences as children, And then we go into our adult life, and then something happens in our adult life that triggers what was already there. And so anxiety is always fear. It's always a fear. But what is the fear is the question. So we have to go in and see, like, okay, what is the brain thinks this person is not, why is she not safe? Why is he not safe? Right. And get to that. And once we can expose that, then the anxiety can dissolve, because the brain doesn't feel like it has to then protect you, because that's what the brain's going to do. It's going to protect you, punish you, or prioritize you. It's 3 things the brain's always trying to do.
Got it. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we are out of time. Wow. Time goes quick. We have to kind of sum up for today. And then again, of course, find out how we can reach you. Do you offer an initial consultation? Is it a free consultation or?
It is.
Okay.
It's a free consultation. If you just go to my website, raquelrwilliams.com, again, RAQUEL, it's a different spelling, .com, raquelrwilliams.com. You can click schedule consultation, and it's free. We can chat and figure out if this is for you and if I can help you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you here and getting to know you, and looking forward to connect again. So guys, think about it. Can't hurt to try something new. Reach out for the consultation to Raquel, and we'll talk more about Napa, where she's from. Dying to go. Always been dying to go. But you're being from the Bay Area. You're a California girl. So you gotta help me one day when I get out there. East Coast girl here. So thank you so much. But thank you for opening up and chatting with us today. And we'll talk next week, I hope. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.